Hi everyone, Kate here. Today I'm pulling together a whole lot of different resources that have been helpful for me and clients who I work with to support them in managing the symptoms of anxiety, stress, worry, insomnia, the list goes on. Um, they're saying now that 1 in 3 people experience anxiety, and of course, there are varying degrees. Some of us may experience periodic anxiety or stress based on situations. Some of us have diagnosed anxiety disorders. And so, whatever level of anxiety you've been experiencing, I want you to know that you're not alone, and there are things that you can do, I'm sure you're aware of, that can help. Some of us have talk therapy, some of us use medication, some of us use diet and exercise and time in nature, and yoga is also something that you can do. You may have some experience with it, maybe not. But there are very specific things that yoga offers us to provide relief from the symptoms of anxiety. The main goal with a yoga practice for anxiety is to support the mind to become more stable and clear. When we're experiencing anxiety, the mind is usually in a fairly chaotic place. It might be running around in lots of different directions. You may experience a sense of fear or panic. Maybe even the fear and panic sort of tips over to the point where you become immobilized. You may be familiar with the term fight, flight, freeze. This is when the sympathetic nervous system gets overly agitated and the body kind of goes into a state of shock, ready to flee danger, to run, to fight danger, to have some kind of physical battle, or we kind of freeze and the whole system shuts down. So what we're trying to do with a yoga practice is to support the mind and the nervous system to calm down. So when the nervous system is in that agitated state, you don't think very clearly, your body doesn't work as well as it could. All of the energy goes into the arms and legs so you can run or fight, which means energy is moving away from your organs, so you're not digesting your food as well. Maybe you're not breathing as effectively. Often we shallow breathe when we're feeling anxious. So these are all things that we can address with yoga practice. And when I'm talking about yoga, I'm talking about postures, I'm talking about movements, I'm talking about breathing, even working with sound, with chanting, working with meditation, working with mantra. This is all part of yoga. And so we're working to support the mind to become more stable and clear, and the nervous system also to become more calm and stable. So coming into the parasympathetic response of the nervous system, which usually activates when we're resting, relaxing, when we're sleeping. If we're sleeping well and having deep sleep, we'll be in the parasympathetic mode of the nervous system. And when we are, the body releases the growth hormone, which even if you're an adult and you've finished your main growth of your lifetime, you still need the growth hormone to heal, to repair. And so you want to make sure that you're getting good sleep and that you're getting adequate downtime for your nervous system to stabilize, so your body's healing and functioning optimally. So I'm making this video to add one final practice to the whole collection of videos and meditations that I've made over the years. I'm putting together a little collection here in this blog post. You'll find a daily meditation, which is a very simple guided meditation that's really helpful if your mind is out of control, which if your mind's ever been out of control, you are not alone. This is just the human mind's way. And unfortunately, our brains, our minds didn't come with an instruction manual. So I kind of see yoga as my instruction manual for how to deal with my mind, because yoga is designed for the mind. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha is the second Yoga Sutra, and it's literally saying yoga happens when the mind is stable and clear. And then everything that it tells us after that, everything that we do in our yoga practice is all to support the mind. Even if you're doing postures on the mat, you're there to support your mind. So that's why I'm so passionate about yoga for mental health. All right, so there's that daily meditation which you can use. It's about 12 minutes long, I think. It's very basic, so it's great for beginners as well as more experienced practitioners. It's just nice to work with a simple practice sometimes, even if you do have a bit of experience with meditation, particularly when you're anxious. You don't want anything too complicated to have to think about or deal with when you're in a state of anxiety. So that one is for you there. And I've also shared my yoga for sound sleep practice, which is fairly relaxing and restorative, and it's all designed to practice right before bed. You're welcome to bring along a lavender eye pillow, use essential oils that you like, maybe have a cup of chamomile tea, put on some flute music. You know, I'm a big fan of flute music. So the video has been recorded without music if you want to add that in to help you relax. And then there's also there's one more video, which is a detailed look at legs up the wall, Viparita Karani, which is probably my favorite restorative. It is my favorite restorative yoga pose. And so I thought that one was worth going into a bit more detail on, because it is so profoundly relaxing for the nervous system. But chances are, if you are in the thick of anxiety, or you really feel like it's starting to come on, you're probably not going to get the best result from going and just lying straight on the floor. Because if you go and make yourself very still, and you're sort of forcing yourself to try and relax and be still, and your mind is still, there's a little piece that needs to happen before you go ahead and do some nice relaxing yoga. And so that's the piece that I'm going to share with you now. This practice is my number one thing that I do when I'm experiencing anxiety. I nearly wasn't going to include it because it feels a little bit ridiculous, but it works for me, and maybe it will work for you as well. So basically, it's a variation on a mantra, and I'm going to show you two things, actually. I'm going to show you what I do first, and it's working with sound, because I find, and you might find as well, that if you're anxious, to give your mind something to focus on helps all of those intrusive, chaotic thoughts. And for me, the best way to do that is to work with sound. So literally all I do, and I did it in my car a couple of days ago, and in 10 minutes, I was totally fine. I felt like I had just, taken some kind of relaxing pill. One of my yoga clients, she calls it the yoga pethidine, because after we do this for a period of time, it literally, it has this incredibly pacifying, soporific effect. So we can try it here now. Just get a comfortable position. And like I said, I did this in my car. So, you can really do it anywhere as long as you're comfortable making sound. So you just take a breath in and breathe out. So it's like the sound M-A-A-A-A-A-A. And the reason why I do the ma is that I start with the and I get that vibration the sort of tingling feeling of the sound vibration through my face and lips to make sure it's really relaxed. It also just feels kind of soothing to my throat. I don't know. I remember as a kid also just lying in bed going, and making that crunchy noise in my throat. I found that very soothing. I noticed that my youngest son actually does this as well. So having a sound that you can feel, feeling vibration, and then opening up from that once you got a good tingle going on, you can let the sound get bigger and longer. And so it works because it gives us something to focus on that is both sensory, we can feel it, and we can hear it. And the more you do this, you might find your breath gets longer and longer and longer. And what that's doing is when the exhale, the out breath, gets longer, it's like we're flicking this little switch in our nervous system where we're transitioning from that sympathetic nervous system, the fight flight, into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is like the relaxation switch. And if you can breathe in through your nose as well, through that inhale through your nose, the air is stimulating the vagus nerve, which also is like a little switch for the parasympathetic nervous system. So there's lots happening, which is why it's, I don't know if it's why it's my favorite. It's my favorite because it works, and it works because of the reasons that I just shared. So I did that for like 10 minutes, and I usually feel after about 10 minutes like I've just had a really strong sedative. I usually feel a bit tired as well. And I think that's because also when we're in that agitated state of the nervous system, we're using heaps of energy and we're actually incredibly exhausted. The adrenals are fatigued, the body-mind is fatigued. And so when we come down to relax, we might actually feel an overwhelming sense of exhaustion, which is normal. And it was just all those extra kind of adrenaline and cortisol, the stress hormones that were making us feel jacked up and overstimulated. But underneath it all was real exhaustion. So after the I want to offer you one more practice that is really nice. Once you sort of got the deep breathing going on, we can move into what's called a bumblebee breath. And if you've been to my Yoga for Mental Health or Yoga for the Mind workshops before, you'll be familiar with this one. I'm actually teaching this workshop next Monday, the 8th of October. If anyone wants to come, we can practice together live. So this is Bhramari, and it involves making a very similar sound. This time you don't open the lips. It's just So the whole exhale is going out through your nose with the lips sealed, and you're looking to find a nice vibration through the face. We're also going to do it with blocked ears. The effect that that has, you'll know as soon as you block your ears, you can sort of feel and hear that bumblebee breath sort of bouncing around the skull. So it really enhances the effect of the vibration, and you really can't think about anything else other than that sound, which again is the goal. Get the mind off everything else that it's been worrying about. Focus on your bumblebee breath. So let's do a couple of rounds together. So breathing in and out through the nose. Try to keep the face really soft so you can feel the vibration. Let's do one more together. All right. So that's it. They are 2 extra practices I wanted to share with you as part of this little Yoga for Anxiety series. If you'd like to practice with me, in Sydney. That workshop is coming up on the 8th of October, and I'll have a whole lot more practices, including some things for depression or other things that you can do when the mind is behaving in a way that's difficult to live with. Because after all, the mind didn't come with an instruction book, but yoga itself offers us a lot of practical ways to create a calm and stable mind. Thank you.